Hello and welcome out to our very fourth edition of Cody's Game Shelf. Just thought we'd go through here, and this is my second row of GMT titles. So this right here is Apocalypse Road. That is a game that's actually killed Thunder Alley for me. Thunder Alley is a great game. I ended up giving it to Zach. Thunder Alley is a great racing game, but I like Apocalypse Road more because you've got guns and you're shooting at each other. Great racing game. Really like that one. Atlantic Chase. This is a really cool game. A very unusual game of naval warfare in the Atlantic between the surface fleets of Britain and Germany. And what's cool here is you're actually looking along, you create these like block trajectories and you're searching along the trajectories for the enemy. And really, really an interesting game and a lot more intuitive than you think it would be. A lot easier to learn than you would think it would be. Combat Commander Europe. So this is a game that for years, whenever I talk about World War II games and stuff, I would always have people say, you got to play Combat Commander, you got to play Combat Commander. And then I was finally, in 2020, I reached out to GMT and asked them for a copy, and they sent me a copy. I didn't know if they would because it's an older game, been out for a while, but they sent me a copy and really enjoyed it. It did live up to the hype. It's got this cool card combat system where you play cards for different events. And it was a lot of fun. I really, really got a kick out of Combat Commander. So good call, Internet. Washington's War. This is another one I haven't played in a long time. But I keep thinking I got to get to the table because it was really a lot of fun. But essentially, you've got the battle for the 13 colonies, but it's much a political battle as it is a military battle. And what I really liked about this is kind of the end game. You don't know when it's coming. It's like the cards are mixed in there, so you don't know exactly when the end of the game is going to happen. So you're trying to get as much done as you can before the worst happens. So I really enjoyed Washington's War quite a bit. Talon and the expansion, Talon 1000. This is a great space tactical game. And it really reminds me a lot of Star Wars Armada, which is a great game. I've actually got it in a big crate over there, so I don't know if you'll see it on a shelf. But the thing about Star Wars Armada was it was always very, very tremendous amount of setup and takedown. And I love this because I kind of get the same feel from Star Wars Armada, but you don't have that headache of the setup and takedown. I'm keeping Star Wars Armada because it is Star Wars. I really like the models, and it's a fun game to play. I may play that once in a while. But if I get that itch and I don't want to go through all that, I can play Talon. But I don't just mean to say I have this because I think it's an adjunct to Star Wars Armada. I think it's a great game in its own right. You've got these dry erase markers. You've got an impulse system. I really like how this game plays. It's super fun. If you're looking for a great space combat game, this is the one to get. Here, okay, so this is Space Empires and one of the expansions, Close Encounters. Now, I have all the stuff in both of these things. However, this should be Shelf of Shame because I've never played it with the expansion. And I know there's more expansions. Excuse me, I keep thinking I want to, but I just don't know that I ever will. I hope I will. I hope I will. Be positive. At some point I will. But I love the base game so much as it is. I probably should play that at some point. Love Space Empires. Space Empires is an absolutely fantastic game. This is just a tremendous 4X experience. If you haven't played Space Empires, I highly recommend it. There's like a bookkeeping phase where you got to kind of keep track of some stuff, and I know that puts people off, but it's not hard. It's quick, and what you can do is just phenomenal. Really love Space Empires 4X. Again, I played that was last year. I think I gave a copy of this to Zach for his birthday, and we played it, and he really liked it. And that was about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago. He really liked it. I want to play it again. I actually had a buddy of mine make little 3D print little counters, or trays that you can keep the counters in, because sometimes you gotta keep one over the others for fog of war purposes, and they keep falling over. Anyway, really like that. Okay, so this is the Jason Matthews trilogy here. First of all, 1960, Making of a President. This came out in 2017, I think. It came out earlier. The GMT edition was 2017. I think I played this right before I moved to Texas, as I recall. Played this a few times, and I don't know that I played it since. Played it about 4 or 5 times before I went to Texas, and yeah, I don't know if I played it since I've been in Texas. But a great game about the presidential race between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, just how close and tight that race was. Great history here, really love it. Same thing with 1989 Dawn of Freedom. This is about the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. One player plays the Democrat, the other player plays the communist, and you're trying to, the communist is just trying to hold on to these Eastern European countries as long as he can. The Democrat is trying to just get him out of there as soon as he can. Really super fun game. Really like 1989 Dawn of Freedom. And then, of course, here's the big bad boy itself, Twilight Struggle. Probably my favorite. No, I'm going to say my favorite of my JMT games, certainly. This game is frequently pretty high on my top 100 list. Usually right around, if it's not in the top 10, it's usually in the low teens. I think it's Zach's favorite game. I think it's Zach's favorite game of all time. Sean likes it a lot too. And my friend Matthias in Texas, I introduced this to him, and he got a huge kick out of it. Twilight Struggle is great. Cold War, and I've said this before, and this is true of all these games, but Twilight Struggle is really what turned me on to it. I've never played a game before or since that makes the most out of how can you make the best out of bad decisions. How, you've got these bad decisions, you have to pick the least bad decision. You get that all the time in this game, and so it's really fun. It's stressful, stressful, but it's a brilliant game. Now, I had the Imperial Struggle, which I played a couple of times, which I liked, but I never fell in love with. I enjoyed it. I think it was a fun game, and I know there's people out there that eat it up. And I recommended it, and I stand by my recommendation because I know there's people out there that absolutely love that game. But for me, I kind of found whenever I was going to get it to the table, I'd rather be playing Twilight Struggle. So there's that. Anyway, so tell me, what do you think? You like these games? What are your opinions? Should they all stay on my shelf? Anyway, okay. Love to hear from you. Take care.